Currently, temperatures are soaring here in Vancouver, which inspired me to create this very summer-proof makeup look, which is very minimal, easy to wear, beginner friendly. Now let's jump right into this video, but before that, if you haven't subscribed already, do press the subscribe button. It helps me a lot. The like and a comment gets this conversation started, and let's jump in. Alright everyone, so the first thing is obviously starting with a good base, and that starts with good eye cream and a nice moisturizer. My sort of go-to summer duo when it comes to skincare are these two. Both are the Bobbi Brown vitamin enriched. One is the face base, one's the eye base. But right before I apply that, I'm just going to spray a little bit of this Boscia rose water mist, just for some light hydration on top, just so that we can lock in some moisture once we put on the moisturizer. And while the skin is still a little damp, we are going to apply both the skincare products. So with your finger, just lightly tap this in. If you wanted to kind of swipe, which I highly don't recommend, you can use your ring finger then. So I'm just like very lightly tapping this, and I want this to sit for about 5 minutes before we actually go in. Skin is still a little damp. Very great moisturizer, this one, because you can use it across many skin tones. I think it was last winter where I actually even went in with a drop of oil every time I did this, so for my extra dry skin. And as usual, I did my brows already. Your brows last longer if it's done directly on your skin. I feel like it has a tendency to fade on top of skincare. Lightly tap all this in just to encourage some blood flow into the skin. Next step, I'm going to color correct really faster on my mouth. I just realized I forgot to put my sunscreen. Oops. Preferably your sunscreen goes before you do your corrector. I just completely forgot. I'm just going to use the Unseen sunscreen today. It's a great sunscreen as a primer, so you can just very gradually just tap and lay it down. I mean, it forms as a really nice base for your makeup to lie on. So this is color correction done. Before we move into my base, I just want to use a little bit of this brow gel. This is the Charlotte Tilbury one, just to comb up the brow hair. So for my foundation, I'm going to use this Armani Maestro foundation. This is actually a tester. I don't want to obviously have full coverage on my face. I want the skin to show through. I want it to look healthy. I want it to look very natural looking. I just like to spread everything on the back of my hand, like over a large area. Also, this foundation has sunscreen in it, so feel free to use a sunscreen based foundation, but always remember you need sunscreen underneath. Okay, now I'm going to take a really nice fluffy brush like this. A fluffier brush just picks up lesser but is also able to spread it over a larger surface area. I'm just going to dip this and just go straight. It also makes the application process super fast. It just almost blurs out your foundation. You can also use a skin tint or a tinted moisturizer. At the moment, I like using something that has a little more coverage because I have been having kind of a rough week, rough past 2 weeks with a couple of breakouts and stuff. So, I'm just trying to not only cover that with minimal makeup, but also just give the skin a more airbrushed finished look. Now, as y'all know, I have a couple of spots always here. Honestly, I don't mind it. I mean, I feel like it gives the skin the whole natural look when you have your imperfections showing through. And there was a time when I really loved full coverage makeup, but now I've definitely dabbled and tried different formulas, and I'm definitely more of a natural makeup person. If you absolutely do want to cover small spots, pinpoint concealing is your best friend. I'm thinking I'll actually do a very detailed video on pinpoint concealing. Let me know if you guys are interested in something like that. It's definitely time consuming, but I feel like you learn so much more about your skin, the way you can utilize less to have kind of maximum impact, if that makes sense. Let me know. Now, while the foundation is kind of settling onto the skin, I'm going to use a little bit of my Tarte Shape Tape on my eyelids because I feel honestly this doesn't budge no matter what the day is, how sunny it is, how sweaty or humid it is. this thing doesn't budge. And since it's a more natural look, I'm sticking to tan sand, which is a color that is more closer to my natural skin. This, I'm just going to brighten up and cover all that darkness that I have on my eyelids. So I like to just tap a little bit. Fingers are like mini beauty blenders, I feel. How many of you are there who actually use your fingers to kind of just do your makeup? Then I'm just going to use a setting powder to set all that concealer so that it doesn't start creasing. I'm just using this Too Faced one. This just goes all over your eyelids. Next step is concealer, and I'm going to use my Born This Way in Warm Beige and the Kulfi one in Mango Drop. I feel like the Kulfi one adds that necessary peachiness because I do feel that the Warm Beige is very yellow for my skin. And I'm just going to let this sit for a moment under my eyes just so that it kind of marinates. I'm just going to use a little bit of this around right in the center of my brows just to like clean up that area a little bit and just bring a little bit of brightness too. Honestly, I don't like brightening too much or too light in a go because I feel like it definitely looks a little unnatural most of the time. This part I'm just going to quickly blend in with my finger. As long as you kind of give it that little bit of time, it just kind of deposits that extra color. Now I've been completely loving mixing my contour and my bronzer because I just feel like it makes two steps one. It just makes the whole process a lot more easier. And today I'm going to be mixing my Makeup by Mario as my contour and the Chanel Tan de Soleil as my bronzer. And I just like literally dabble into both of them. And by the way, I haven't set my under eyes because we are going to set it later in like one go. What I'm going to do is just start lightly stippling this color on my face with the maximum on this side. My biggest getaway would be to use a cream to powder formula. Both of these, the Chanel and my Makeup by Mario, are more cream to powder formulas. So if you have something like that, it would be great. If not, you could obviously only stick to powders if you want. And I'll also add this to my crease using the same brush because honestly I feel like there's a lot of product that kind of builds up. Now something I've been, again, loving doing is mixing two cream blushes to create a custom color. So today I have two Tower 28 blushes. One is Golden Hour and the other one is Magic Hour, which is this peachy pink. And this is definitely more of an orangey, corally pink. And once again, I'm literally just gonna tap into the two here. And I'm just gonna tap it onto my skin. I love this combination of two of these blushes. I honestly just did it one day and I was just like, damn, this looks so good. I feel like it really brightens up the face like no other blush that I have. And I think it's the mix of the peach. I feel like peach has so much, like peachy colors has so much to do with tan or brown skin. And it only makes it look 10 times better than what normal blushes would do. Summertime means you gotta have some blush on your nose, and a cream blush works the best, to be honest. So just remember to get that right there. I'm gonna go really nice and high with this and just bring this literally along this line here. Now this is probably the most important step. This step is going to give that longevity. It's going to make your makeup stay in place and not move through the day because we're going to fixate it and make sure that it does not go anywhere. I'm not only going to spray it on my face, I'm also going to spray it on my beauty blender and just scrunch it up a little bit, get it nice and damp, not wet. By the way, you shouldn't get this too wet because actually what it would do is if it's too wet, it's actually going to pick up makeup. And honestly, this Charlotte Tilbury stuff, it's amazing. It just locks everything in place. I know right now things look super glowy, but we want to just let this kind of sink in a bit. For my under eyes, I'm just going to use my Givenchy, the pink powder. Now I want to set this kind of with a glowy powder. Honestly, I like glow. That's why I prefer glowy powder, but you can honestly even use your setting powder. I'm going to use this Hourglass Ambient Dim Light powder. And I'm going to use the same brush. Usually larger brushes like this don't hold on to a lot of foundation. And we're just going to tap all over. And this very, very whale-like almost just set what's necessary. You can even the Charlotte Tilbury powder is really good for this, but by setting it this way, you're gonna make sure it's not gonna move. And it's this powder step that actually tones everything down. Even if you went in with a little extra blush, this step will tone it down. It'll take it a step down and make it look so much more natural and more flawless looking. It'll also take care of texture, so in case you have textured skin, this is a great tip. The setting spray step also just refreshes your skin up. It just makes it feel so much more lighter, because I know sometimes, you know, putting a lot of cream just feels heavy. It makes your skin feel a little overdone almost. So this actually almost magically lifts up that makeup weight that you have. For eyes, I'm just gonna go really quick with that bronzy shade. I feel like it goes really nice with this top. So literally just putting this all over my lid. I'll use that same brush and just use a little highlighter just right here, right under the eye. This telescopic mascara has to be the best mascara on this planet, because I mean, it separates and volumizes like none other. So what we're going to do is just give a nice little curl. Oh, this kind of matches with my outfit. Anyway, this is L'Oreal's Telescopic. I like to look down because you can kind of control how you want your lashes to sort of fan out. Now for lips, I'm just gonna stick to a lip liner. This is Spice from MAC, and Spice is that kind of peachy pink but a little more intense. This Spice lip color just goes really well with the peachy pink blush that we kind of created also. And what is a summer look without gloss? I'm not going to use a gloss, but actually I'm going to use a balm, and what I have here is the Summer Fridays Butter Balm. And that's it, everyone. This is the finished look. Doing the steps will make sure your makeup is something that would last through a hot summer's day, no matter what temperature it is. Now remember to use the right kind of skin prep when it comes to, you know, if you have oily skin. What I have is dry skin, but if you have combination to oily skin, I would say use more gel-based moisturizers. Go with a primer if you have to. Go with a primer. I just feel like dry skin generally has that little bit of grip, because I guess that, you know, there's the dry skin texture that lies on top, so that gives us a little more play time. But thank you everyone for choosing to watch this video. If you haven't, I have so many summer makeup looks. Do check them out. I'm gonna paste them here right now. If you haven't, a like, comment, and subscribe goes a long way. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next week.